Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Bree with Build and Burn with Bree. Today we're going to go over some movements that you can do in the gym for lower body with dumbbells only. We're going to go over some variations for if you have a little bit more equipment for in the gym, or if you have just dumbbells for at home and no other equipment. So first things first is we're going to start with stretching. So what I like to do is I like to go into a runner's stretch first. So I kind of like to lean into that front leg. I kind of rock back a little bit, lean forward. I will do this for about 30 seconds each side. And then we'll switch. Same thing on this side. If you are able and have the mobility, I like to go basically all the way down to the ground. I'll fold my front leg in front and I will really lean into that front leg. Only if you are able and have the mobility to do so. If not, you can keep doing that first stretch and then eventually ease into doing this stretch after the mobility applies. And then we're going to switch. Next, I will stand and I will usually just do a quad stretch. So I bring that front foot back, whatever foot you want to start with, left or right leg, pull it back. If you need to hold on to a wall or hold on to something, feel free to do so. And then usually I'll come to the front and do a knee grab. And then switch. And then same thing. And then from there, usually I will go into just some air squats. Usually more sumo based to kind of warm up those abductors. And then I'll usually sink into it, grab my toes and really get as deep as I can. Also while kind of pushing my elbows into my knees and giving myself a really good stretch. And then I'll let my butt shoot up, kind of stretch out those hamstrings, and then come back down. And I'll do this again, like 30, 45 seconds, really let myself stretch out. Next, what I'll do is I'll go into some good mornings. So I will put my hands behind my head, keep my legs basically straight, and then I'll hinge at the hips. And then come back up. And that's a quicker version of a warm-up I usually do. If you need more time, take your time. We definitely want to make sure you warm up, that way we avoid any injuries. All right, so one of the first movements I'm going to go into is, well, I'm going to go through a couple squat variations that you can do with dumbbells. So one of the first ones I like to do is a goblet squat. So usually I'll grab a heavier dumbbell. Right now I'm just going to grab a 30 just so I can show y'all. And I will front rack it. Usually I use my knee to help me put it up. Hold the dumbbell underneath one of the sides. Usually I go a little bit more than hip width. You're gonna hold it against your chest, and then you're gonna come down, and then come back up. Usually I do anywhere from 3 to 5 sets of 8 to 15, depending on the day. Make sure you are breathing through the whole exercise. You want to try and keep your torso upright. So that's one squat variation that you can do. Another would be kind of like a front squat. Usually I hold the dumbbells onto my shoulders. You can hold them like this with your palms facing you. I like to rest them on my shoulders. And the same thing, you're just gonna come down and come back up. I'll show you from the side. Another good one is basically a suitcase squat. Now, sometimes you'll see this with a hex bar, but again, we're just doing dumbbells. So you hold them outside your quads, go a little bit wider, and you're just gonna come down and come back up. These are also a little bit easier too if it's hard to hold those dumbbells on your shoulders. All right, next let's talk split squats. So I'm gonna show you on a bench to start, and then I'll kind of show you just standing. So if you're in the gym and you have a gym to use, and you're able to use a bench, or you have a bench at home, basically a good way to set this up is you sit on the edge, put your heels out, take one back, and that's usually a good distance away from the bench. And then you take that back foot and you rest it. And then what you're gonna do is this is just gonna come down, and then you're gonna come back up. I like to keep my torso nice and tall. Now, granted, you can hold a dumbbell with this as well. So usually you hold a dumbbell on the working leg side. And then the switch, I usually just put mine right next to it, feet next to each other, put the other foot back, find my balance if I need to, and then you're gonna come back down. Usually for these, I will do anywhere, again, from 3 to 5 sets, usually 8 to 12 each leg. Now, if you're doing it without the bench, basically the same thing. Find yourself a good distance, and you're just going to come down and come back up. Switch legs. Split squats are very similar to lunges, and that's basically what we're going to go into next is a bunch of different lunge variations that you can do. So yeah, we'll go into that next. All right, let's talk lunges. A lot of different variations you can do. We will start off with my favorite, which is I like to do reverse lunges. So stand just regular, hip width apart, and then I like to just step one leg back, meet up in the middle again. You don't have to come all the way to the ground. You can do these with dumbbells up on your shoulders. You can do these with dumbbells by your side. however you feel comfortable. If you're more advanced, you can do dumbbells above your head or a plate above your head. You can also alternate if that feels better for you. Another one you can do is frontwards. So again, step forward. You can alternate. You can do one side and then do the other. You can do side lunges. So basically, you're coming down into one, whoop, I find my balance. Coming down into one leg, come back up. Really shoving that butt back. Booty back. And the same thing with the other side, which I will show you guys from the side. So those are some good lunge variations. And again, you can do dumbbells. I like to hold them in the front rack position. And those are basically it for lunges, at least for a home version or dumbbell only version. Now we're gonna kind of go into the hip hinge variations. Deadlift, Romanian deadlift, all of the booty work. All right, let's talk hip hinge and deadlift. So there's a bunch of different variations you can do. Deadlift is by far my favorite movement in the history of gym ever. I love deadlifting, especially a regular conventional deadlift on a barbell. But again, if we have dumbbells and that's all we're able to use, you can still get a good deadlift in with just dumbbells. Now, for a deadlift with dumbbells, you're gonna wanna stay, conventional stance with your feet, so hip width apart. Dumbbells are gonna come in front of your body. Now, this is gonna have more knee bend than a Romanian deadlift. So basically, you're going to bring the dumbbells to mid shin and then come back up. Make sure you're shoving your butt back, a little bit bend in the knee, flat back, and then come back up. I like to stop mid shin because it does mimic, when you have a barbell and the plates, you're not going all the way to the ground. Now you can do anywhere again from 3 to 6 sets, 3 to 5 sets, anywhere from 8 to 15 reps, however you're feeling. Now for a Romanian deadlift, you're gonna do a little less bend in the knee, and you're gonna shove your hips back as far as possible without rounding your back. So shoulders will be nice and back. You don't have to bring the dumbbells completely in front. I like to kind of bring them along the side of my legs. So a little less bend in the knee, hips straight back, and then you're gonna come up, shove the hips back as far as possible. I like to do these slow and controlled, really feeling them in the hamstrings. Now, that's the regular deadlift and the Romanian deadlift. There's a little bit of other variations you can do. You can do the B stance or kickstand. So for B stance or kickstand, you can grab your dumbbells and you're really just gonna focus on one foot forward. The other one's just kind of hanging out and you're really only focusing on that front foot. So again, dumbbells are gonna be up front. and you're really gonna lean into that front leg and then come back up. So it's like you're doing a regular deadlift, but you're really only focusing on that one leg, and the other one's just kind of hanging out. Show you from the side. Now, another one you can do is with just one dumbbell. I hold it in the opposite hand. Same thing with the kickstand. And I like to cross over and then come back up. It's just a different variation. It still targets your glutes. Now, if you have a bench to use, I really do enjoy bench supported RDLs. So I'll show you those. You're gonna rest one leg on the bench, one leg off the bench, enough distance between your leg and the bench. You're gonna hold the dumbbell, and then you're gonna shove your hips all the way back, and then come back up. So it's the same thing as a regular RDL. You're just having the bench kind of help you support, and you're really gonna feel it in that working leg. Still shoving those hips as far back as you can shoot them. And those are a good few variations of the deadlift and RDL that you can do at home or at the gym if you're just using dumbbells and a bench. Here's a little bonus. If you guys are able to access wedges, I love using wedges. So I like to use these for goblet squats. So usually I lace them up, hip width apart. I will grab whatever dumbbell I'm using, and then you just step with your heels elevated. Really helps with quad focused movements. You're just gonna squat down, really sit into those heels, and come back up. Now, you can also use these wedges for RDLs, where you're gonna have your toe elevated. So again, grab your dumbbells, elevate the toe. Really kind of helps keep those knees straight, and you're really gonna feel it a lot more in your hamstrings. And yeah, those are fun little extra to have. They're a little too big to keep in my gym bag. The gym that I train clients out of already has them, but some gyms usually have them. I know Crunch sometimes if you have them in like the hit zone area, but other like bodybuilder gyms definitely have them. And yeah, those are some good dumbbell only movements you can do either at home, at the gym, add them into your routine if you need a little bit of extras to use them with, or if that's all you have time to do all the variations, and you'll get a really good solid leg day in. Now, I know we didn't go over bridging and hip thrusting. That can be a whole nother video. There's so many different variations you can do for hip thrusts, but I just kind of wanted to go over basic dumbbell movements, especially if you're a beginner. I know these are some really good ones you can do before you go into the more advanced movements. But Thanks for listening along if you made it this far. My name is Bree, and if you have anything else you want to see, let me know and I'll make a video. Have a great day, guys.